The Tsar miners violently attack IGP's anti-Galamsey task force at Bontresso, injuring 2 police officers during Mansour Dubia operation. We have details.
Also this hour, government says all is set for solemn state burial on Friday, August 15th for the 8 victims of last Wednesday's helicopter crash.
Plus, arbitrary arrests, detention, and serious restrictions on freedom of expression and media freedom highlighted as human rights violations recorded in Ghana in a U.S. Department of State report on the state of human rights for the year 2024.
It's Thursday, August 14th. This is News Central. I'm Kemini Amano.
And I am Mawina Beta. The bulletin starts right now.
This afternoon, government says all is set for a solemn state burial on Friday, August 15th for the 8 victims of last Wednesday's helicopter crash. Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of Operation Stanislav Jose Dogbe told the press the military-led ceremony will be conducted with full respect and adherence to protocols given the expected large crowds. He also assured of heavy security deployment to ensure law and order.
Companies and individuals have made some donations of items, water, drinks, floral tissue, and other things to the government for this funeral. And he has directed that all those items should be delivered to the 8 families. So right from this morning, we're beginning the distribution of the items that we've received from a number of companies: Guinness Ghana Limited, Ghana Water Company Limited, Vena, Casapreco, Ghana Limited, Twellings, Ghana Limited, Floral Tissue, and others. We'll be handing them over equally to the 8 families that lost their loved ones in the Wednesday, August 6th disaster. Thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Stanislav Jose Dogbe is a Deputy Chief of Staff. Now, let's have a quick conversation with our Jubilee House correspondent, Komla Kluche, who's been following developments towards Friday's event. Komla, talk to us about preparations when the government says all is set.
Well, what the government says, essentially, first off, we need to note that 2 of the victims have already been buried. That's Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, that's the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology and Innovation, and Alhaji Muniru Mohammed, the Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator. 2 of them were buried a few days ago, and so it's left with the 6 who have to be buried. Presumably, they're Christians, and so they have to be buried according to the Christian custom as well. That's Dr. Edward Omani Boama, who is the Minister for Defense, and Dr. Samuel Sapom, the Vice Chairman of the NDC, Samuel Abuaji, a former parliamentary candidate, and also a Deputy Director in charge of protocol at the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, Squadron Leader Peter Bafemi Anala, and Flying Officer Chuman Pedu, and Sergeant Ernest Adomensam. They would be buried tomorrow at a ceremony that will kick off at the Black Star Square, and finally they will be interred at the military cemetery, or what we call Ghana's Arlington. And so the protocol, Stanislav Stan Dogbe has been very straightforward with it, and says because of the magnitude of people who would be coming into the country, some foreign heads of state, as well as VVIP dignitaries who will be coming, the protocols will have to be adhered strictly, especially in terms of the crowding, and also filming most often being done by people who are not accredited to, and also how some of the families have been subjected to filming by a section of the media, be it the traditional or the other. But let's listen to Stan Dogbe when he made the protocols very clear and how strict instructions or strict rules would be applied.
Indeed, Komla, we'll take a listen to that later. And, you know, also we had listened to Stan just before coming to you. But I do want us to talk about security because we're told this will be a military-led event and all due protocols, like you've reiterated, will be followed. What is the arrangement as far as security is concerned?
Well, the Ghana Police Service has issued a statement and has indicated the closure of some streets. For a statement issued on the 14th of August, that's today, says temporary closure of some roads in Accra on a solemn occasion of the inter-denominational and interfaith state burial for the military helicopter crash victims. The Ghana Police Service wishes to inform the general public that in order to ensure public safety and smooth traffic management, the following roads designated will be closed to the vicinity of the public, which includes the 28th February Road from the SEPS traffic light intersection to the Castle Road, and also the Osu Cemetery Lights Road to Local Street, Castle Road from the AU to Osu Cemetery traffic light, and then the Starlight 91 Road will be closed at the Ministry's traffic light. Then there will be some diversions as well. But let's listen to the Ghana Police Service indicating how this will be done in an orderly manner.
Today at midday, traffic police officers will be seen around this vicinity. From this afternoon through the night and through tomorrow, the aim is to ensure that there is free flow of traffic in terms of mourners, family members, and all that have everything to do with this occasion. In light of this, there are certain roles that are going to be managed. So from tomorrow morning at about 5 a.m., traffic police officers will be deployed to manage traffic that are coming from Laboni, and Osu through the Independence Square to the Central Business District. What is this is that we will ensure that there is no congestion. And so as and when we view and see that traffic is compounding, certain traffic diversions have been made to deliver these traffic services to routine commuters and residents around Independence Square. Those on La Road, when the road is blocked.
We just heard from the police MTTD. Now, Komla, we can now take a listen to Stan Dogbe on those protocols, and then we'll come back to you and talk about the Chief of Staff himself. Let's take a listen.
Government officials, all institutional tributes from the various institutions that our departed comrades work with or associated with will be read during the pre-burial period before 9 o'clock. After the service, the bodies of the 6 that are yet to be buried would be conveyed to the military cemetery at Chado for burial. And there as well, the Ghana Armed Forces, together with the churches of the 6 departed comrades, would take charge of the burial ceremony at the military cemetery. Because of the rather large number of people that will be expected tomorrow, a number of measures have been taken to ensure that we have a very solemn ceremony. So for the media that is here, you would have seen the ongoing setup. We are trying our best to provide as many chairs as we can to accommodate the thousands of people that we expect to join the various families and the government officials here for the service. We are going to label the various canopies.
Well, now, we also know that the Chief of Staff spoke at this announcement event, so to speak. What did he say?
Well, the Chief of Staff himself was not there, but represented by his Deputy in charge of operations, Stan Dogbe, who just spoke a short while ago. What it is that some amount of donations continue to flow in from companies to government. A lot of people are donating to the government on behalf of the victims and all that. I mean, from tissue to money to drinks to all sorts of things are coming to government. The Chief of Staff has directed that every donation should be equally shared amongst the 8 victims. No, not a single one would be shortchanged whatsoever, to use that word advisedly. Everything equally that they have received. As of now, we do not have the magnitude or the totality of how much, probably in terms of money or the donations, but there's a directive from the Chief of Staff that all donations should be equally distributed among the families of the 8 victims, even though 2 of them were buried days back. If we have the soundbite of Stan Dogbe, we can listen to him as to the directive of the Chief of Staff.
That now, thank you so much for talking to us. Let's take a listen to Stan again on that directive from the Chief of Staff that all donations be given or distributed to the surviving relatives of the 8 victims who died in that helicopter crash. Let's take a listen now.
Number of companies and individuals have made some donations of items, water, drinks, floral tissue, and other things to the government for this funeral. And he has directed that all those items should be delivered to the 8 families. So right from this morning, we're beginning the distribution of the items that we've received from a number of companies: Guinness Ghana Limited, Ghana Water Company Limited, Vena, Casapreco, Ghana Limited, Twellings, Ghana Limited, Floral Tissue, and others. Will be handing them over equally to the 8 families that lost their loved ones in the Wednesday, August 6th disaster. Thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow.
But a few things you should note about tomorrow if you're going to the Black Star Square for the final funeral rites, where you can park your vehicles, VVIP, dignitaries, so to speak, can take their vehicles to the Black Star Square. The forecourt of the State House is also a place you can park. The International Conference Center, Access Bank Car Park, the Osu Cemetery Car Park, and the Accra Sports Stadium Car Park are all places you can park your cars. Then the ministry areas as well. Now remember that if you don't fall in that category of VVIP or VIP, some of these areas you can't park your cars there. Now the ministries areas, we have the Ministry of Food and Agriculture Car Park, Marine Drive Football Car Park, Marine Drive Football Park, and Ifwa Sutherland Car Park as well. Approved vehicle parking stickers, red for VVIP with the inscription in it, only will be allowed to enter the Black Star Square Arena and park. Remember, I already told you that the VIPs, so to speak, the dignitaries will be able to park within the environs of the Black Star Square. If you don't fall in this category, you can't park anywhere there. I've already told you where you can park, including the ministries areas, forecourt of the State House, the Accra International Conference Center. I don't suppose that you'll be driving there, but this is good information for you to know, Mawena.
Absolutely. We will be there, but not certainly, not sure we fall within that category. And so I think from what we understand, the other areas which you listed, the Ifwa Sutherland Park and the likes, will be for government officials who will fall in the line of some VIPs, but not VVIP, because for VVIP, they will make their way into the Black Star Square.
And then there will be the sticker as well.
Yeah.
Red with VVIP.
Not all of them will need sticker. I mean, the president's convoy will not need a sticker, but will most definitely make its way there as well. But yeah, so for those of you watching, be sure to note that. But let's stay on this subject matter, because the Eastern Regional NDC has held a candlelight vigil in honor of Dr. Edward Omane-Boamah and the 7 others who tragically lost their lives in the recent helicopter crash in the Ashanti region. Party stalwarts, dignitaries, and grieving mourners gathered to pay heartfelt tribute to reflecting on their lives, contributions, and legacies.
The night was filled with emotional eulogies, symbolic candlelight procession, and moments of prayers in remembrance of the departed souls.
We pay tribute to Dr. Omane-Boamah, a stalwart leader whose dedication to combating illegal mining left an indelible mark on our nation. As a defense minister, he championed a holistic approach to tackle galamsey, emphasizing community engagement, alternative livelihood, and modern technology alongside military operations. His commitment to the National Democratic Congress in the Eastern region was unwavering.
I remember very, very well the first time we were able to make inroads to the University of Ghana Medical School at Kolebu. It was through the instrumentality of Dr. Omane-Boamah that we managed to establish the presence of NDC at the University of Ghana Medical School in Kolebu. And we can assure them, sir, yeah, must have a way in breaking it down. It will strengthen us to be on our feet, to continue the reset agenda and ensure that Ghana is reset again.
For over 15 years, you stood as a pillar in the Eastern region, a leader, a mentor, a brother, and a tireless servant of the party. You were the one we called when hope seemed distant, when we needed resources to keep the party moving, or when urgent projects needed funding. You never said, I will see what I can do. Instead, you said, we'll make it happen. And indeed, you did.
Championed several transformative projects for the school, secured a single-story dormitory block, Bowers House, provided a new school bus and 4 double-cabin pickup, personally re-roofed and refurbished the Lincoln Science Laboratory. Even after leaving office in 2017, he remained actively engaged with the school, attending programs and supporting initiatives. Upon his appointment as Minister for Defense in 2025, he graciously accepted our invitation to be special guest of honor at our 67th Speech and Prize Giving Day.
Now, the St. James Old Boys Association, Juba, has held a solemn requiem mass in honor of the late squadron leader Peter Bafemi Anala, a distinguished alumnus and military officer. The service took place at the St. James Seminary Chapel in Abesim Sunyain, bringing together family, friends, and colleagues to pay their final respect. A report by Claude Kumiebisa.
The St. James Seminary Chapel was filled with mourners on Wednesday evening as Juba members, military officials, and loved ones gathered to bid farewell to squadron leader Peter Bafemi Anala. The late officer, a proud alumnus of the St. James Seminary, was remembered as a dedicated serviceman and a committed member of the Old Boys Association. The Requiem Mass, officiated by Reverend Father Sixtus Evans Apia-Chireme, featured hymns, scripture readings, and heartfelt tribute celebrating squadron leader Analy's life, service, and contribution to both the military and his alma mater. Some Joba representatives shared fondest memories of their beloved departed mates.
Peter happens to be a proud member. He has been very active in the organization of the Ahotifo family. Unfortunately, on that fateful day, on Wednesday, we least expected that one of our own will be involved. We received the message with so much pain and shock. Anytime he comes home, he comes to Sunyani to Ahotifo family. So we are very sad.
Peter was a classmate who was an interesting person. He had a sense of humor that we all admired a lot. And to lose such a person is not easy at all. It's very painful. And so it was difficult to even know what to tell people when things like this happen. But what we can learn from this is that God is assuring us that whoever believes in him and will have his faith in him will not end in the grave. He will go beyond the grave.
Peter's death, it's a big blow to Joba and even our classmates, because anytime Peter is around, for instance, that was last year, I happened to be in Wenchi. So he flew to Wenchi to pick the Attorney General. So he called me to ask whether I was around or whether I was in town. Fortunately for me, I was around and we had to link up. So anytime Peter was around, he tried to check up on his colleagues. So he not being around today is a big blow to all of us.
Let's move away from that. An arbitrary arrest, detention, and serious restrictions on freedom of expression and media freedom have been highlighted as human rights violations recorded in Ghana in a U.S. Department of State report on the state of human rights for the year 2024. This conclusion is no different from the department's 2023 report, sparking concerns of no significant improvement in the protection of rights. Let's take you this afternoon through aspects of that report and what it is that we've been finding out from the latest U.S. State Department report, particularly on matters of human rights. And we're going to walk you through it quickly on our dashboard here. Amongst many other things, a summary of the findings where they say that the government took very limited steps to identify and punish officials who committed human rights abuses. That's one of the many things they highlighted in this 2024 report. They again identified this, that political party operatives verbally harass academics on social media platforms and on the radio for expressing critical or divergent opinions. What else did they find? They also found that there was a general practice of holding detainees without a proper warrant or charge. Again, flagrant violation of human rights. Then again, they found significant human rights issues included credible reports of arbitrary arrest or detention and serious restrictions on freedom of expressions and media freedom. Let's bring you the last one. Is that the last one? Yes, the last one, where reports of abuse and the use of excessive force were widespread. For example, in February, media reported police in the capital city of Accra caused bodily injury to a suspect to extract a confession during an interrogation related to a robbery. Let's bring in rights activist and law professor Kwejo Appiagyei-Tuah. He teaches public international law and international human rights law at the University of Ghana. Prof, I appreciate you speaking to us. So, arbitrary arrest, detention, and serious restrictions of freedom of expression and media freedom. Would you say this is a fair reflection of the state of affairs?
Yes, so this is a report for 2024 that the U.S. State Department's reports is always issued a year after they base their analysis on the past year's report. So what we have here largely reflects the final days of the previous regime. And challenged the government to make amends before the elections of 2024. And so what is has been reported by the U.S. States Department of State.
Very credible, you say, but we've seen similar instances captured in the report already playing out this year. Do you get a sense as a nation enough is not being done, or we're failing to tackle the issues head on, or it's a case that the government have generally become satisfied with the state of affairs?
Between last year and this year, yes, we see some common trends. And again, it's a cause for worry. When you look at the fact that the government, the current government said it was resetting the agenda. If you take the case of the police, for example, we don't see any serious reforms having taken place in the administration of justice by the Ghana Police Service. And the coming into place of the new IGP has not resulted in any changes, positive changes on the ground. The police are still doing the things that they do best, which is arresting people, putting the aides out on bail conditions, arresting people any for doing due process, and then extorting money and beating up journalists, and even dealing with cases which are not supposed to be criminally related cases, such as dealing with debt issues between two people or two groups of people and so on. So what the report has come up with is credible, and there's no sign of a change for the better in the first year of President Mahama's administration.
Say with that with all of these violations you're admitting to, how do we as citizens, civil society, and even journalists who are going about their duty work to turn the tide against these rights abuses?
There's a lot of room for the agencies of states that are supposed to respect human rights and promote human rights to do their jobs. For example, we just talked about the police. They're supposed to protect the citizenry, but they rather end up abusing the rights of the citizens. The soldiers have gone on various rampages, and the police have not brought them to check. It's as if the soldiers are they live in a world of their own. SHRAJ has been inactive. It has not been as activist-oriented and very well organized in protecting people's rights, taking up cases. Even when cases are reported, it takes so long for SHRAJ to deal with the matter. So you talk about NCCE, it's also has been very silent and not been very active. You talk about the courts, there's a slowness in the administration of justice, and all these factors are very worrying, because these are the very institutions of states that are supposed to protect and to promote human rights. And so when it comes to, when it so happens, as we have it here, the state's ability to protect human rights, which is to prevent rights from being violated, and if violated, to ensure that the perpetrators are arrested, they are prosecuted, and convicted if found guilty. They are not doing their job in that respect. On the part of the government, it has the duty to respect rights. in that sense, in the sense that it is not supposed to intervene in the enjoyment of people's civil and political rights. We have situations where demonstrations have been dismantled or interfered with, and some journalists molested and so on. That is not good for the image of the country. And there are also issues about the duty on the states to fulfill, that is to provide certain facilities to make the enjoyment of some rights possible.
That's Professor P.J. Chia speaking to us this afternoon on the latest U.S. State Department report highlighting significant rights abuses for the year 2024. He is cautioning that enough must be done to ensure the trend does not continue in the second coming of President John Mahama. That'll take us on to our very first break here on News Central. When we return, huge development in the fight against Galamsey as citizens begin to fight the police's task force. We have all of the details. If you stay with us here on News Central, please do stay.
Welcome back. It's still News Central here on TV3. We want to bring you that top story about the clampdown on illegal mining and how some communities are fighting back, because the IGP's Special Anti-Galamsey Task Force operating in the Manso Edubia enclave came under severe attack by a group of illegal miners at Bontresso. Now, 2 police officers sustained injuries following a violent confrontation with the miners. Here's a report by Stanley Nibleu.
Acting on a tip-off, the Special Anti-Galamsey Task Force advanced operations to Bontresso, where they observed an excavator actively engaged in illegal mining within a pit, causing extensive environmental damage in the community. The team moved in to seize the excavators at a time where a large tract of land has already been degraded. While effort was at it to tow the excavator away, a group of illegal miners led by the assemblyman of the area mobilized and began pelting the officers with stones and other dangerous objects. The assemblyman is reported to have incited the miners to attack the police, openly daring the task force not to tow away the excavator while threatening bloodshed. Two of the illegal miners wielding pump-action guns opened fire, endangering the safety of the officers. During the confrontation, ASP Bawa Abdul Jalil and General Sergeant Agbelekpe Mawena Yao sustained and leg. The miners then blocked all exit routes to trap the team. While attempting to clear the blockade, the officers came under live fire and responded with appropriate force to neutralize the threats.
While I was about to move him, 2 gentlemen came forward that they were the owners of the excavators. And all of a sudden, the community started mobilizing to attack. Some started even throwing stones to attack the police. I think basically the area is becoming chaotic, but with our professionalism, we are just trying to make sure that we secure the area and be able to move the machines out of this jurisdiction.
4 suspects in the persons of Patrick Asari, the assemblyman of the area, Akwesi Amponsa, Osei Vasco, and Owusu Alexander were arrested by the police. All suspects are being processed for transfer to Accra for further action. The team eventually regained control of the area, dispersed the hostile crowd, and safely transported the seized excavator to the Manso Edubia police station for safe custody and further investigation. 1 other excavator was left at the site due to imminent threat to officers' safety.
The fight is not an easy one. We swore to fight in the peril of our life. And today was a manifestation of that vow that we took to protect Ghana, our motherland. And we are not backing down until we achieve the success needed.
The incident underscores the high level of hostility, coordination, and armed resistance from illegal miners. The IGP's men say future operations in the area will require reinforced security presence, advanced tactical planning, and readiness for
Quite very serious, the development in Bontresso. Lots of conversation ought to be happening in relation to this. How so easily guns are available in the hands of these illegal miners and community members as well, assembling to virtually resist police operations to end the activities of illegal mining. And I'm sure we'll come to all of that if you stay with us here on TV3. But Ghana's cocoa yields are set to decline further if efforts to protect the sector are not intensified. In response, state regulators are stepping up measures to prevent farmers from ceding their cocoa farms to illegal miners. Deputy Managing Director of Finance and Administration at PBC Limited and convener of the Coalition of Cocoa Sector Reforms, Thomas A.C. Kuma, has warned that Ghana's economic fortunes could be severely impacted if decisive action is delayed. A report by Stanley Nibleu.
Agriculture, largely driven by the cocoa sector, was once Ghana's highest contributor to gross domestic product. But that narrative shifted following the sharp decline in cocoa yields, largely attributed to the vast and reckless destruction of cocoa farms by illegal mining activities. Successive governments have over the years supported cocoa farmers through various initiatives aimed at boosting production, improving livelihoods, and ensuring the sustainability of the cocoa industry. These include providing subsidized inputs like fertilizers and seedlings, implementing pension schemes, rehabilitating old farms, spraying, and stabilizing cocoa prices. However, information on total government expenditure on the cocoa sector over the years remains fragmented and difficult to assess in a single comprehensive document. The continued spread of illegal mining, coupled with the recent marginal increase in cocoa producer prices announced by the Ministry of Finance, has angered some farmers, prompting them to sell their cocoa farms to illegal miners for quick cash. Last year, a cocoa farmer in the Ashanti region ceded his farm to illegal miners, a decision he openly defended.
Government can never stop Galamsey in this Ghana at all. I have a gold, I have plenty money in my pocket, so I don't mind cocoa. Look, I'm now cutting it off, you see. It is my own bonafide property. Nobody can stop me to stop cutting my own cocoa tree. Are you plant it for me? Plant it for you, food and job. Am I involved?
Similarly, in a widely circulated amateur social media video, a man is seen happily felling fruit-bearing cocoa trees to make way for illegal mining, claiming the farmer had lost interest in cocoa cultivation. This trend has triggered alarm among stakeholders in the cocoa sector, who are calling on urgent and decisive state intervention.
Until recently, where we had oil and gold, cocoa has been the mainstay of Ghana's economy, employing millions of people, direct and indirectly. So cocoa can be dependent on for the next foreseeable future. That cannot be said about the other resources. And that's how come we have to pay very much attention to cocoa. If we are not careful about the terrain that we are taking our cocoa, we are not careful about the dwindling volumes of cocoa in Ghana, then in the long run, there will be nothing to lean on.
For him, cash crop trees such as cocoa cannot be cut without prior consultation and approval from the government.
If government is putting investment into cocoa farming, then nobody should be allowed to cut down cocoa trees for anything.
On the cocoa price controversy, Chief Executive Officer of Cocoa Board, Dr. Randy Abe maintains that the price of bag paid to farmers is reflective of prevailing market condition.
There is a manifesto of the NDC. The President of the Republic himself as a candidate spoke, and he's been speaking as president. What he's been talking about is exactly what has been done.
If the current tide of cocoa farm destruction is not stemmed, Ghana risks losing not just a vital foreign exchange earner, but a critical pillar of its agricultural heritage. Stanley Niblew, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, in the Bono East region, a multifaceted effort is underway to address the critical issues of illegal mining and irresponsible land management. Key sector leaders have been highlighting the urgency of the situation and outlining a collaborative approach to protect the region's natural resources and ensure long-term sustainability.
Third front of government officials and traditional leaders are sounding the alarm on the destructive and terrifying practice of galamsey, which is currently ongoing at Ayoya, for more responsible land management to secure the region's future. The regional minister addressing the crisis revealed a personal visit to the area, which according to him is being severely impacted by illegal mining.
We have galamsey issue when you go to Ayoya area. As a minister, I have been there myself. It is in the interest of the president to make sure galamsey practices are not enhanced in the region. We are saying no to galamsey because the procedure they use to mine is very bad. And the nature of the land, that is the topography of the land, is also destroyed. When we destroy the land, where are we going to get space for crop production?
Echoing these concerns, Nana Owusu Sechi III, president of the Bono East Regional House of Chiefs, has called on traditional leaders to take a firm stance against illegal mining. He further cautioned traditional leaders against the reckless allocation of lands. These, according to him, could potentially cause conflict and environmental damage, leading to future land scarcity for the local population.
Ghana food basket.
I will plead with the chiefs that since we are the food basket of the country, we shouldn't allow galamsey into the region. We should also be careful about how we give our lands to investors, because if our ancestors did that, we wouldn't have the lands we have now. Meanwhile, the head of corporate affairs at the Minerals Commission, Dr. Ahmed Tijani, stressed on the need for a modern and adaptable legal framework to address these challenges.
Laws are made by people for people. So when you promulgate a law over a period of time, there are emerging global issues that will definitely have an effect on the existing law and policies. And there are also domestic issues that most likely would have an effect on the laws that we have promulgated over a period of time. So there is a need for you at every point in time to take stock of these emerging issues and new government directives to be able to make a statement in the policy and the law to reflect the growing global expectations of your mining industry.
Still on the subject of illegal mining, because 90% of workers in mining areas as of 2024 were engaged in non-standard form of employment. This worsened the plight of workers who were involved in fixed-term contracts and temporary forms of work. The Ghana Mine Workers Union, at its National Executive Council meeting held at Accra, called on government to engage mining companies to ensure improved conditions of service.
According to the Ghana Mine Workers Union, the widespread use of fixed-term contracts, casual labor, and other non-permanent arrangements is worsening the plight of workers in the industry. At its recent National Executive Council meeting held in Accra, the union called on government to engage with mining companies to improve conditions of service across the sector. Despite reports that the mining companies in the Bogoso-Prisia area have raised over 80 million cedis to settle outstanding arrears, the union insists that deeper reforms are needed. They are pushing for long-term strategies to tackle casualization and ensure fair treatment for all workers in the mining value chain.
As at the end of 2024, over 90% of the workforce in the mining sector is currently engaged in non-standard forms of employment, with standard employment sitting at about 10%.
The call for reform comes at a time when global gold prices have seen a dramatic surge from $1,800 per ounce last year to nearly $3,000. Secretary General of Trade Union Congress Joshua Ansa reaffirmed the TUC's commitment to mine workers. He urged government to fast-track the review of Ghana's Labour Act to reflect current realities.
To support the Ghana Mine Workers Union in its effort to improve working conditions, promote occupational health and safety, and advocate for the rights of miners. We will continue to work together to address the challenges facing the mining sector and to ensure that workers' voices are heard.
Now, voters in Akwatia in the Eastern region will on September 2 go to the polls to elect a successor to their late Member of Parliament, Enes Yaokumi, who died July 7 this year. Bernard Bediako Beido will contest on the ticket of the governing NDC, while Solomon Kwame Asemedu will represent the main opposition NPP. Beatrice Edu is in Akwatia for us, monitoring the politic in the area and what it's looking like ahead of September 2. Beatrice, you've been there. Talk to us about what the general feel is like in the Akwatia township ahead of that by-election.
Indeed, Marina, when you get to Accra, I would say that there's not much of activity, but getting a bit closer to the party area, where the party has offices, you can really tell that indeed there is an election coming up on the 2nd of September. And I can tell you that this is going to be very highly contested one, and I'm sure you're aware that the regions have already been giving us with the latest survey coming from Global Info Analytics indicating that the NPP is leading by some 6%. When you get to the headquarters of the party or the party office here in Accra, like I told you, there are party supporters in paraphernalia. They are even selling some paraphernalia here as well. And that gives you the feeling that they are looking forward to a very tense election of parliamentary primary come September 2. But I do have with me the NDC parliamentary candidate, lawyer Bernard Bediako, who is here with us. Hello, sir. If you can just join us very briefly, and you're live on TVC. I mean, just a few days really for the parliamentary primary to be held. First of all, how would you say preparations are from your side, security as well?
So thank you so much. We are very prepared, as you can see.
Right, Beatrice, a bit of a challenge in hearing that interaction. If you could kindly try and just reposition for us so we can hear your interaction with the NDC rep in that constituency, would be much appreciated. Hello, Beatrice. Well, unfortunately, connection not the very best. Let's take you on to Regional Hub right now.
Now, a number of shops at Nogora Junction near the Whole Technical University have been destroyed in a fire incident that occurred Wednesday night. The fire, which began few minutes before 6 p.m., spread through a popular pub known as Nogora and some other shops on the stretch, causing significant loss to business owners.
Wednesday evening's fire incident, which began at about 5:20 p.m., spread rapidly through two eateries, including a pub, before blazing down a boutique completely. In all, 5 shops were affected by the inferno, resulting in significant losses to business owners. Though the cause of the fire is not readily known, shop owners believe the blaze might have been sparked by an electrical fault.
We were actually in a bar doing some works, and then one of the sales girls came shouting that there was a fire outbreak at the back. So we rushed there. So we came back into the shop to come and pick fire extinguisher. But by the time we got there, the fire was way beyond the fire extinguisher stage. So we had to start calling the fire service people to come in. So we called them, within 10 minutes they were here, but they couldn't off the lights. So the water, when they started dispatching the water, we realized that there was an electric shock, so they had to stop. So we had to call on ECG to off the light before they could off the fire. We are sure it's electrical fault because there was no cooking gas or anything there, so it should be an electrical fault.
We'll get light, then all of a sudden the light will go off. We'll get light, then all of a sudden we'll lose. But thank God that I was there by myself. So I just moved out of the boutique. Then the next moment I came, then there was whole fire everywhere. As in smoke, drag, the room became dark. It means something is burning. So before I will start coming out, calling people, Charlie, there's fire everywhere. This particular area, we've been having that kind of problem. It's a serious problem that light goes off, light comes in. There's several times that I've really repaired my air conditioning, I've really repaired my fridge. Basically, if we can talk of damage, we are talking about 1 million Ghana cedis, because it's like I'm not the only person affected. My neighbors are also affected, so I can't talk for them. But it's if myself and adding them assumption, we are talking about 1 million Ghana cedis plus.
Though firefighters arrived in time, several items and wares were lost to the inferno.
When we got there, 6 containers were involved in fire outbreak. So quickly we have to, because of the intensity of the fire, we have to run 2 deliveries, which is to share the fire spread. And as early as possible, we tried to bring the fire under control. But it took us over 2 hours because of the intensity of the fire. For now, we can't give you the cause of the fire. Investigation is underway.
On Thursday morning, business owners were seen going through the debris, trying to salvage items that might still be useful. Wednesday evening's fire outbreak is the second major incident recorded in the Volta regional capital since the start of the year. Faisal Abdul Idrisu, TV3 News. Ho.
Well, tough incident there. Now from Ho, we'll take another break, the very last one for this edition of News Central. When we come back, we'll take you across the northern regions. Don't go away.
Enterprises and cooperatives operating across the share value chain continues to remain a huge challenge in the northern part of the country. Christopher has been following that subject matter for us. Let's try and find out what intervention has been coming through from them. Chris, talk to us. There's been some development on that front, just quickly.
Yes, so Mawena, it has to do with the high interest rate in accessing credit for these persons engaged in the share value chain. Over the period, they believe that people in the value chain should be given some consideration when it comes to access to credit, because the high interest rate, high inflation, and others are affecting their businesses. They are unable to get enough money to go into the market to buy the share, to stock them, because share has one season. And so they are appealing to government to ensure that he intervenes so that they will get access to credit to be able to expand their business. Let's take a listen to what they've been saying.
Access to affordable and flexible financing remains a persistent bottleneck for enterprises and cooperatives operating across the share value chain. Many local businesses continue to face structural barriers such as high interest rates, collateral demands, limited working capital for procurement, and insufficient investment financing for processing equipment, certification, and market expansion. These challenges not only undermine the viability of promising businesses, but also threaten the effective implementation of recent government interventions. Without tailored financial support, the sector's capacity to respond to the minimum pricing regulations, capitalize on export opportunities, and meet growing global demand for shea products will be severely constrained.
Very much for that update. That's my colleague Christopher Marco in the northern part of the country, bringing us to the end of today's edition of News Central from our studios here on the John Hammond Street. I am Mawina Egbeta.
And I am Kemeni Amano. Will be here same time tomorrow. Oh, will we?
Absolutely. Well, tomorrow is kind of special, and so yeah,
Absolutely.
What I can confidently say, you will find us somewhere around the Black Star Square tomorrow.
Indeed.
Not sure if it will be News Central, but it will be a special coverage of everything that is expected as we lay to rest the 6 remaining gallant men who tragically lost their lives a week ago.
So we'll see you tomorrow morning instead. But do enjoy the rest of our programs. I'm Kemeni Amano.
Mawina Egbeta. I think I mentioned that already.
You did.